Hey, hey, it's the Mandible Judy cast and crew chat weekly. It's weekly. Did I say weekly? By the way, every Thursday night, 9 p.m. Eastern time, which is what time it is right now. And I think, don't quote me on that.
I mean,
You
time is an
guys,
illusion, right?
I am joined by Clayton Romero, Mike Hall, Mark Costenbader, and Novus Opera. No, Novus Opera is you. Who is this guy down here? Novus
Nova
Seta.
Seda.
I knew it was something Italian. All right. But especially, we have a special guest this week. John Dylan Keith is with us from Bob's Burgers. John and I go way back. Hi, John.
Hi. Thanks for having
Hey,
me.
I like
Nice
that. I
place you
like
got
that.
here. Like what you done with the place.
I like what you did with these 5 windows. uh, I like just looking at your Fender Rose just sitting there quietly behind
So
you.
it's a Wurlitzer 200A,
Oh,
but
what? See,
it's all the way
what do
back
I
there.
know?
Oh,
It
but
is. It's pretty far away.
there is a substantial amount of envy that I think most of us are experiencing right now. Just looking
Oh,
back
yeah.
at your space there, you got all kinds of things going
He
on.
played it down. He tried not to make it too obvious.
It's just this is the what I have to work with. Space-wise. If you could like,
This
I didn't neaten up for you. Sorry.
this is where the magic happens.
Oh no, that oh, off camera is where the magic happens. It's and it's a horror show.
There's
I've
so
been
much to
the
unpack
last
there.
few weeks. There's been a lot going on the last few weeks, and I've been waiting for a little bit of downtime, which I'm about to get to combat the clutter and the mess and like put away stuff. I'm pretty bad at like
That's what we all say.
pulling
We all
something
say
out
it.
to record with it and then like putting it there, and it's still
Well,
there.
you might
Yeah.
need it in another 5 minutes.
That's
Yeah.
That's. I don't think that's what I'm thinking. I don't think I have that conscious thought. But okay.
No, that's not where you were going with that. Fair enough.
Well, I mean, I'm hoping that I can't tell if that's a guitar or ukulele. It's strangely foreshortened, or what's the opposite of foreshortened in the background on the
this
other
here?
side.
Too
The one
short.
with the open case on the other side.
This
Yeah,
here.
Yeah.
That's a ukulele.
yeah. That's what I thought. It's so strange.
Callings.
You could have reached back like 5 feet further with your arm and pulled back a guitar, and I would not have been surprised. Yeah. Um,
Nicely done. Nicely
This
done.
ukulele.
I do love the fun like
String steel dreadnought ukulele.
perspective shift
Right.
there, because that totally could have been another 3 feet back
Exactly.
further, and yeah, it would have been straight out of hammer space.
Funny thing is-
Does virtual backgrounds work in this environment?
If you want
if
to,
you want
yeah.
to.
So I'm not gonna mess with it right now, but I was doing that in Zoom meetings for a while, and without a green screen, it works pretty well. But if I did that, my arm like I disappear into
through.
the background. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
Pay no attention to that man behind the curtain.
Yeah, I'm just neatening up because I noticed how horrible. What I'm gonna do here is to make myself look more like a musician like John. I'm gonna actually expose the keyboard under this. There, you get like 3 keys.
Dude, you
That
can't
works.
expose yourself on Twitch. They ban you for that.
Yeah, they're really upset
Jeffrey
about those
Tubin.
things.
Right.
It's called a
I
Jeffrey
pulled this
Tubin.
out of the garbage. That's right, or just the verb tubin. I like that the best. What were you doing last night? Oh, just tubing.
Just a little tubin.
Being
it
naked
can go.
and
It can mean
doing
so much.
anything.
Again,
I know it sounds
I just
crazy,
meant
but I
lots
water
wanna,
to unpack.
sports. I just meant water sports.
just from those
Oh,
3 keys,
oh, never mind.
wanna-
I didn't mean water sports. Okay.
I want to guess if that's a Korg. Is that a Korg? That yours, Chris? The
Where?
keyboard. The keyboard.
No, it's actually.
The
no,
otter
it's
is asking
really
a question.
crappy. I swear to God, I pulled this out of the garbage in Kensington, Brooklyn. It's I think it's a Yamaha, but it's like
Okay.
or a Casio. It's a Casio, but it's like a really big weighted keys Casio.
Yeah, because
So
it looks really heavy.
Fortunately, like 4 or 5 of the keys are broken, which is why it was in the garbage, but it still works. It's got on board like 4 sounds, like an organ, a piano, a freaking harp or something. I don't know, harpsichord or something like that. It's useless sound wise, but
Freaking
it's I
hammer
use it to
dulcimer.
write. I just
Can you
the
guys
guitar,
hear
the
me?
piano patch. And...
Mhm.
Hey, Mark, is that you?
Somebody.
Yeah.
Mark
Okay,
is
sorry.
there.
That's all. I was just making sure that I was
Okay.
audible.
You
And
certainly are, sir.
you're not in transit somewhere.
Yeah, that's exactly what I
I am
said.
not in transit somewhere.
Okay.
So,
So just so
Amazing.
John knows what we're talking about, Mark is often like on a subway, a bus, I don't know, like in a car when he logs into our chat. And it became like a regular. We wanted to make it a segment, but he was too inconsistent, so we couldn't
is it
make it. A
Junior?
segment.
Yeah, Mark. Too inconsistent.
Sorry, I'm inconsistent. Sorry, I don't make enough money to afford to be commuting up and down New Jersey.
so John,
Okay.
just for the
This
people
is actually
at
my
home.
sleeper cabin on an Amtrak. I'm traveling on the Acela right now. I had my crew dress it before
Very
I can't
nice.
go anywhere without all my shit. It's like
Of
Keith
course
Richards
not.
in his library. I need all my stuff in my sleeper cabin on the Acela.
For the
So we're gonna make this. We're gonna actually do a real interview here, I think, right? Clayton, did you have a question?
Yeah.
Were you
Well,
you were about
yeah,
to
I
start
mean,
and get serious for a moment? Okay,
just
go ahead.
for a tick. Yeah, I mean, ultimately just getting context, right? So for the folks at home, who may not know the relationship here, John, Chris, how do you guys know each other?
Oh, I don't know how important that is, but we'll just blast through it real quick.
Prison.
John and I were lovers in the 70s
Wow.
and in the 80s.
Saw that coming.
So
Saw that coming.
yeah.
You remember when I
actually,
was working for you at the studio and we went out for lunch when you were in Chelsea? We went to the Whole Foods
I was
for
just gonna
lunch
tell that.
to go to the
story.
buffet, and there was a guy had like a little offering up food, a sample tray. That's what they call it. But it was like a cooking demonstration sample station, and so and this is in Chelsea in New York, and we walk up looking for free food, obviously, and he looks at us and says, "Which one of you does the cooking?"
And it was hard
And we
for us
both
to
went,
keep. A
"He
straight.
does."
That'll be him.
Yeah. We were probably bitching at each other about work, so he thought,
Yeah, it
okay,
was-
bitchy.
they've been
you know.
together for years.
A couple old
Really.
mates.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
But you
And he
guys know
wasn't
each other
wrong
from
in
the
a
music scene,
sense.
though, right?
Well, sort of, and yes and no. John, we met through, I think, Mike Burke, right? Introduced us.
Yeah.
Burke spelled differently, spelled like me, but with an ERK. And John came to work in my studio in, God, I don't know, when was that? 99, 2000,
99,
2001?
I think, 2000. Yeah, 99.
Jesus. We're so old, or at least I am.
I was
anyway.
6 years old.
Um,
It was really nice of you
That's
to
right.
violate child labor laws.
Fucking prodigy.
You gotta do right by the kids. It's all about the
It
kids.
started in
John
filing.
proved himself.
If you start him
right.
young, you can
John
get him to
proved
do
himself
anything.
to be a great sound designer and an audio editor, and didn't take any shit from me whatsoever. So I
Nice.
think I respected that for sure.
Solid qualities.
But yeah, so we moved on to a different studio after that, the two of us alone, and I had like at one point we had 5 people working there when in the heyday, and then .bomb happened. Not that it really affected us that much, but it did affect the rest of the economy, and that affected us.
Yeah.
But yeah, we moved on, and we've been staying in touch. And I really wanted, John, to pull up the Little Bill music you did, but I thought that's inappropriate on a number of levels.
I don't know what levels.
Should we tell them about
that?
The subject?
Oh well, yeah. I guess his name is no longer polite company.
Yeah, right. it was a Bill Cosby
Mm.
piece that was like a kids disc for for a company that we won't we won't name and embarrass them, but we were doing the audio including the music, and John was writing all the music. I was doing like voice editing and recording editing and sound design, and John wrote this really great jazz score. It's so nice, and it's so kid friendly. It's amazing. It's just lovely, and we were both kind of manic at that point because we're not now. I don't know if you knew that, but we're not manic at all now. But
Okay.
but anyway, yeah, those were good times. Good stuff, John. Very cool stuff. But I figure,
Yeah,
I'd have to dig for it. And go ahead.
that phase comes up a lot. I periodically music scoring students and stuff will approach me about Bob's, and they say, "Well, how'd you get your start?" And so it always starts back at Bong and Dern, and I talk about, it was really like that's where I learned how to do audio. I was just playing in bands before that, and I didn't know how to like do
He was
anything.
6, as you heard. He was 6 years old.
But
ahead, sorry.
it was a great way to learn signal flow and audio, because it was the audio books and the recording VO was just one mic,
Yeah.
one track.
Yeah.
So it was easy for me to get my head around. So like that was like a
Yeah.
nice like easy slow on ramp.
So it's funny because you say that,
Oh,
but
that's good.
I know a lot of like a bunch of the actors who work with me. They all really struggle with editing their own audio. So I think that for guys like us, we have a tendency to not give ourselves enough credit. It is a far more nuanced thing, or maybe we're just super, super nerdy, and we just have the attention span for the crazy dry technical because no one else
Yeah,
does.
I'm gonna go with the nerdy man. I mean, come on, we all spent so long in front of soundboards, in front of effects racks, and then all of a sudden computers, and working with the DAWs, and then somebody comes in and says, "How do you do that?" And you start trying to explain it, and then you realize there's like 15 years
Yeah.
of explanation.
Good point.
Do they have a hard
You
time
wouldn't say,
doing
John.
it technically? I would imagine that our actors can like handle it, but like just editing your own voice, you get in your head and like, oh,
No, it largely is technical. I mean,
Oh,
there
yeah.
is some element of it that is getting into your own head, but they actually, from a voice acting standpoint, they recommend that voice actors listen to themselves perform and listen to themselves talk, because it is just it's a brutal experience, and if you don't know what you're you have people look, you have
I'm
fucking hair
listening.
farmers.
I'm listening to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
So,
I'm not
but-
distracted at all.
yeah. So when you're talking about voice actors, like if you don't know that you make all the horrible mouth noises, unless you
Oh,
edit
yeah.
your own shit, you never
Yeah.
know that. So they like, especially for all of my voice actors, we force them to listen to the raw for all the stuff they record. And there you go. Enjoy that.
It always makes it. You make them sound like they're eating macaroni and cheese while they're, because it's all that.
Is that,
Oh.
Does that remember that thing, Chris? Language removal services. Remember that guy? It was like an art project by somebody
Oh,
that did
yeah,
this
yeah.
kind of work, and
Yeah.
he would
That's right.
do like a celebrity interview, but then he would take all the edited out junk and put that out, and it was like Susan Sarandon, and it would be like
Oh my! You're kidding.
for like half an hour.
Just dead air, and then and then nothing.
Oh.
yeah.
And it was
it's
just
great.
all like it was like when you audition, if you're listening to Isotope or something, you
Yeah.
want to listen to audition noise only.
Uh-huh.
But it was like manually
Yeah.
done with just like the edited out like mouth noises and breaths.
That is literally my
Right.
personal hell.
Yeah.
That's a project.
It was a great great web art project, I thought.
Yeah.
I wonder what that guy's doing now.
Tamara had a thing that she did that was a performance art piece probably about 10 years ago called Breath Stop, where she had done some voiceover for me at Bong and Dern after you had left when we were doing it at Bill Series' place, Mercer Media. and and uh, and it was she just took her voiceover from her own, like the stuff that she actually got paid for, like audiobook stuff,
Hmm.
and then she just took out all the did exactly what you just described. So it's just like literally just breaths before everything, and it's great. And then she just did like this whole spoken word piece over it and some guitar and various other things, and it was awesome.
Did everyone have a
Let me
panic
move on to
attack?
some questions, John.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
we
they
could
did totally.
talk
That's
for a
the
long
thing.
time about bullshit.
Oh, we'll do that
Yeah,
anyway.
we totally could. I'm
Yeah.
sorry about that. So you're I did not really complete. I said from Bob's Burgers, but I'll say, you're also known for Lucy, Daughter of the Devil. You've done a bunch of other stuff. And so what the two Bob's Burgers and Lucy have in common is Lauren Bouchard, who I guess you were in a band with. Do you want to talk about how that came? Let's just talk about the genesis of Bob's Burgers. How
Okay.
about that?
Yeah, and I'm also working on the kind of it's not really related at all. It's just the same production
Yeah,
company.
it
Central
feels
Park
yeah, it
is
feels
another
very
show that they.
Oh yeah, Central Park. I was going to ask you about that. Okay,
Yeah,
I didn't know you
I
were working on that. Awesome. And it's
I just started on the second
yeah,
season,
we're
and
awesome.
so yeah, let's see. I actually went to high school with Lauren, and we
Okay.
kind of kept in touch over the years. And when we were both in New York, he actually came by Bong and Dern one day. I don't know if you remember meeting him when
Oh,
he had
cool.
done home
I
movies.
don't remember at this point, but
Um, it was when you had pet ferrets, and he was like
oh yeah.
super impressed with the
There were
ferrets.
pet
He
ferrets?
he loved the ferrets. Um,
Excellent.
and uh, let's see. Then he moved to San Francisco, and he was in San Francisco, and I was just working for you and for anybody that I could do whatever, just getting by. And one thing that came up was to do some stuff for this show he was doing for an Adult Swim called Lucy, the Daughter of the Devil, which you just mentioned, but I hadn't heard of it at the time. And so it just was like I don't know, 6 months of sound design work and audio effects. I did a little bit of music on it, but really not very much. I saw a
Okay.
text
Very
come
cool.
in.
Yeah,
That was
it's
a
kind
message. I wasn't sure if that was for me.
yeah.
From Mark
That
with a
was
C.
no, I think that was Mark just messing with all of us. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's funny because I've seen Lucy, the Daughter of the Devil come up a number of times in the last year or so as a cult favorite that people really were like. Why did that get? Why did
Yeah.
it not get
I love that show,
renewed?
and
And
I haven't we haven't
yeah,
talked about it in a long time. But last I heard about it, like there's perennial discussion of like, is it ever going to come back, or we're gonna, I don't know, it maybe the
yeah,
interesting thing was that Adult Swim we waited for so long for a pickup for a renewal on it, and they never said no. To this day, I think they maybe hadn't said no. Maybe it's
they
a
just didn't get
long
back.
time now, but yeah, they just didn't get back. But he had a relationship with them, and so it was sort of like it wasn't just like the kind of thing that you
Yeah,
it's not the slow no in the
Hmm.
business kind of
Hmm.
thing. It's just like it was like this kind of hovering constant maybe. But in the meantime, he got Bob's Burgers going, and it just never came up again. So theoretically, it could happen. I suppose I would love it. I love that show. It was so
It
fun.
was great. Definitely
yeah,
was
it
the
was
first time I'd ever heard John
very cool.
Benjamin do a voice other than his own.
Yeah.
I was so impressed with it.
Yeah, right, right. Oh, we talked about this, didn't we?
Yep,
Yeah.
last week.
John, I would get that question was not actually in my questions list. So just to try to move on quickly because I know you have limited time tonight. So my first question was just after 10 years of Bob's Burgers, like how much has changed in the show's music, or your process, and your the what you have available to you, all that stuff. What's changed in those 10 years for you?
Tons has changed, and it's been some of it has been big changes, and some of it has been just like slow over time. Um, the initial concept was very small, intimate,
Hmm.
kind of junk band almost, like lots of like uh, ukulele and just like percussion and small auxiliary percussion and things like that. Fair amount of whirly in the early days, and then it quickly started growing from that. A couple of things happened. One thing was that certain members of the cast, we didn't expect them to have like a singing kind of persona or anything,
Hmm.
especially John Roberts, who does
Uh-huh.
Linda, and John Benjamin for that matter. Both of them have. John Benjamin's is more sort of comedic, but John Roberts definitely has like this kind of like back pocket Michael McDonald '80s thing that he pulled out in the first season, and that was not part of the plan of the show, and he just did it on one thing, and then that became like a kind of not that specific thing, but just suddenly we realized like, oh, we can do songs, and so I think the musical aspect of it really went in a grew with that over time, and every episode has about a 30-second end credit song sequence, which has now become kind of like a strong feature. And it's like we have a separate spotting session ahead of the episode just for those. And those are like a integral part of the show.
Amazing.
And it's really like you know, something that we have to, but in the first season, you don't even know if Fox is going to cut away during the credits
Hmm.
or like put you in that little small box on the
Mm-hmm.
side and
Yeah.
say like next on the 10 o'clock
Right.
news. So we didn't even know if they'd play that stuff at all. So we kind of like soft pedaled it. In the first season, it's like all me doing like versions of the theme that are related to the episode. Some of them are more involved than that, but like we're just very tentative with it. Just like, is this gonna work? I don't know. And turns out to be a keystone of the show now. So that's one thing that changed a lot. And then just
So did Fox?
cinematic movie references. They started temping in more movie score and making big references to movies. They have these sort of triptych episodes where the kids each tell a story, and it kind of refers to some classic movies.
Hmm.
Sometimes it's like three disjointed ones that have nothing to do with each other. One of them was like all Notting Hill, like a British kind of rom com. But all three kids tell the story,
Beautiful.
and those then they get kind of really grand and majestic with the music. Like a lot more Hollywood stuff getting thrown at me. So that's another way that it has changed a lot, and it's really fun because I get to like
Cool.
to try all kinds of different stuff.
I think the one that freaked me out
So
because it
because
came
of that,
from
the
left fucking
instrumentation. Oh,
field
go ahead, Clayton.
was
Yeah.
the National Christmas Magic. It is it's haunting
Oh
and
yeah, yeah.
fucking
And
bizarre.
then things like that also played in. The National, I guess, were fans of the show, or somebody was friends with them, and we were trying to kind of get some of these end credit songs to be, promoted on social media and maybe like YouTube channel or something like that.
Hmm.
And so we'd get people to do cover versions of songs. And the one that really took off was the National doing a Thanksgiving song a number of years ago. And then, yeah, their version of that Christmas Magic song is pretty haunting.
Ooh, it's like, oh,
It's pretty dark.
all right then.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued. I'm scared.
Yeah.
So how much creative
What should my
influence do you
response
have?
to this be?
Right? At least emotionally, we're gonna repress a lot of that. But uh,
Yeah.
like how much creative influence did you have over things like that that clearly come out of left field and sort of are total unknowns?
uh, it's very collaborative, and it's kind of case by case, uh, different how much I am just like kind of going with a group pitch or something that's already built into the episode, or sometimes some of those things. I don't know if I think that first thing where John Roberts sang not as Linda, but like more as like an old '80s singer was just came out of a montage that we did in the first season that was based on like a I don't know blaxploitation across 110th Street type of song that we just because Bob was a cab driver working to save up money to so that Tina could have a 13th birthday party.
Okay.
That was commensurate with her expectations,
Right.
and so Bob was, and then he ends up getting mixed up with Ladies of the Night, and so we kind of did this like
like you do.
pimp thing with the music, and then that song just took on a life of its own, and I don't know that we even initially had a plan for a song at all, and just kind of the song that I presented them. I don't know. I don't even remember that was so long ago how it turned into a song, but it just was one of those sort of organic group collaboration improvisations over a long period of time. It's never really improvisations in a room together or anything, although they do that a lot, the cast. Other things that will happen is I build a lot of songs out of dialogue, and I used to do it more straight out of like straight dialogue before they got kind of into writing songs into the episodes, because Linda would just like say something, and oh, that would kind of catch my ear. That's like a possible. So if we didn't have another idea for the end of the episode, we would do that. Like, what are you doing?
He locked up. Oh no.
Oh.
Oh, you locked up.
Yep.
Hold on.
That's terrifying.
Mm.
That is
Let
terrifying.
me. Yeah. Let me.
Man,
Text him real quick.
now who's gonna compose the music for Bob's?
That's freaking.
There's 100% some sci-fi world where that has, it's just frozen.
Tonight, Teddy's asking, "What are you doing tonight?"
Oh,
John,
the
we
stream
we lost like a
Hi.
minute of time, and
Oh my
it's kind
God.
of magical that we lost the minute of time, and you just kept
It
going.
was amazing.
I could only
He's
wish
still
that we
doing it.
had the
Okay.
forethought.
Yeah,
to,
you were
like,
you were just beginning to tell that story.
You guys are now all frozen. I
Yeah.
don't see.
Sorry,
anything.
you were.
choppy.
Oh.
Are we midstream?
Shit.
Should I
Okay, stand by.
quit and come back again?
No, you're good. Just keep running. I think it seems to have leveled out. Maybe there was
No?
a buffering
Oh,
issue before.
Okay. Can you hear us?
I can hear you.
Can you hear us, John?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Okay.
Indeed, we
All right.
can.
So video might be frozen.
No,
I could try
he's
turning
back.
my video off. Would you? That Clayton, that would help, right?
No, he's good.
What?
It's the bandwidth on his end, so we can still see you, John. You can still interact. We can hear you
Okay.
really good. So just keep kind of
Bandwidth
rolling.
is not happening on
Okay.
this end because I bumped it up to a wired connection, and it seems
No, it
so much
only-
faster and better.
It was doing fine, and everything froze for just a few minutes, and now you're back. Everybody is
I
clear.
think we're good.
But for those few minutes, you literally stopped moving mid-sentence and
It was
didn't
like
move at
40,
all.
40 seconds.
It was
yeah.
amazing to see because we were all like, "Well, that takes
It was
care
like
of all
40
the music for
It was
Bob."
about 40
Yeah.
seconds.
Bob's batteries have died. John, not Bob. John.
So why don't we move on to the next question just to say, oh, John's frozen again. John? He's frozen.
No, I'm not.
No. All right,
You're
so
doing it
Okay.
even
That
better.
was really weird because you pretended to be frozen, but you actually were frozen. Okay. So
have powers.
moving on, do you want to talk at all? I mean, I think, what's that? You have powers?
Oh man, there's a huge lag. Okay.
Yeah, for him.
yeah,
Yes.
on Chris's,
Yeah.
there's this bizarre thing over the course of the stream. There is like some incremental addition that gets added to every one of Chris's frames on occasion.
Oh yeah. Every time someone tries to tell us.
Shall I? I'm going to drop out and jump back in.
Okay.
Yes,
All
it
right,
drives me crazy.
while he's gone, John, my sister, who is an enormous fan of Bob's Burger, says hi. So, there you go.
Hi, to
She
your
has,
sister.
she's a huge. She has one of the songs as a ringtone. I don't know. So, just figured I'd run that by you.
Awesome.
Happy to hear it. Thanks for listening, watching.
So am I now in sync
Yes.
with
Yes,
my
Yes,
picture?
you
Okay,
are.
good. All right. So John, you were telling a story. I'm sorry. I don't. Do you remember what the story was? Because we heard about the first half of it.
Yeah, so we were working in Chelsea, and we went to lunch, and we went to Whole Foods.
Well played. Well played.
Right. Hey,
So I don't know what I was.
comment.
I don't know how much you lost, and I don't want
Yeah.
to repeat too much of it. But it's just been fun to like find musical sounding bits of dialogue and
That's
build
right.
songs out of that.
Yeah.
I've got to
And-
imagine with the people you're working with, the comedic talent in there has got to lend itself to just silly shit songs, just things that you're able to go through and kind of have fun with and riff on.
Yeah, the diarrhea song, for example.
Absolutely. I know exactly which one you're talking about too. It's brilliant. It's brilliant work.
Yeah. You know what? Actually, John, I asked you earlier yesterday what if you had a couple of favorites. Do you have any? You want to give us a link for something we want to check out? We are okay to do that, right? At the moment.
Yeah, it is fine.
I've got the Behind Bob's Burgers YouTube channel pulled up as well as the Bob's Burgers YouTube channel, and we can pull from there as well.
Did you have that one that I sent you yesterday, Chris? That
Fingers
Which one
Loose?
was it? Because I don't.
yeah,
I,
the finger
I
the
hit.
finger one.
Yes.
Okay. You want to show that one?
Hand
Yeah,
Let
That
us-
was
one's
awesome.
that one just is kind of special to me just because of when it happened and how it happened and the musicians on it and stuff. So yeah, you want to play that?
Yeah, play it, and then we'll talk a bit about it, about the making
Absolutely.
of it.
Do we want
Awesome.
to just hear it, or do we actually want to see it?
Can we see it?
Yeah.
Okay,
We can make that happen.
let's see it.
All right. A little bit of technology magic over here.
Just throwing it right in your court. Sorry, Clayton.
We are going
Don't
to
fumble, man. Don't fumble.
just listen to the dulcet
Mixed
tones
metaphors.
of my horrible French accent.
It's incredible.
Incredible. Sacre bleu. Okay, so here is
Okay.
Bob's Burgers hands dancing. And here we go. For your viewing pleasure.
All of my life, I've held it all
Wondering where
in,
it's probably on the stream.
wondering what I
yeah.
could have been. If all of those things I'm trying to hide jumped out of my skin to the outside, just give me a hand.
Yeah,
I'm
sorry,
tired of
we don't see it
hiding.
in,
Give me a
oh, no.
hand. Look
All
at
right,
me
hold on.
striding. I'm free as the
Did you
breezy
know that? Oh, I
Olympic.
thought you knew that. I thought it was only on the stream.
No, we've actually got it going directly to Twitch. Let me go ahead and I'm gonna kill that, and we'll throw it over directly on the stream. Alrighty.
Thank you.
Here we go.
Watch stream.
All of my life, I've held it all in, wondering what I could have been. If all of those things I'm trying to hide jumped out of my skin to the outside, just give me a hand. I'm tired of hiding. Give me a hand. Look at me striding. I'm free as the breezy, a little bit sleazy. My God, it's not easy. Feeling so free.
Ah, nothing.
Did that whole thing play? I just clicked on watch.
It did. Holy cow. Where the hell did that come out of? Because that's a pretty left field idea.
The show idea? Or the
Just
song?
just the song in general. I mean, there feels like there's a pretty tight marriage between the two.
Yeah, that's one that periodically I'll get these songs way ahead of seeing any picture in the episode, and that one I got like March 2020, like right after lockdown, and that one we didn't work on until, I don't know, November or something, to finally post it, and I forget when it actually aired, but sometimes, most of the time, the music I get the full episode, and I've got like 10 days to turn around the score and any of the songs.
Really?
But sometimes with the end credits, or if there's like a montage that they've slowly tried to work that earlier into the schedule.
Mm-hmm.
This song came to me just out of the blue. There was no animation yet, and it was just Dan Mintz singing that, and they really liked the timing of the way he sang it. And also, so I didn't get any video, but they had kind of a time locked cut, more or less. There was a little bit of wiggle room, but it wasn't like, can I have 5 seconds to build a thing here? No, they kind of liked his performance there. He then ended up retracking it once I got it down, but so then I kind of had to write around it, and that happens a lot, because there's, they're pretty good, but they're just working with no click and no keyboard or anything.
Yeah.
That one actually pretty much stays in a key, but sometimes I get to sneak in these like distant chord modulations, just because somebody will sing and they're just improvising a cappella, and they'll just go anywhere with it. But so that was a fun one that felt like it really ended up coming together. At first, I was like, how is this ever going to sound like a song? Because it was just like piano and voice at first. And then then when we were recording it, it was just after lockdown, and I had done some overdubs remotely with people, but like horn sectional like that. I've got a multi-reed player and a trumpet and brass player that do great work, but usually I have, and they'll multi-track, but I usually would have them both come and record together, or be in the room with them. Same with the drummer. Everybody was at home. We all don't know what the hell is going on.
Yeah.
I don't know where you were last month, but last March, but I was right here in this chair, and
yeah, you're looking
so
at
it was
man.
really it felt like kind of important that was like a real show must go on moment for me personally, and just for us, because the whole show, I had been working at home. So just to back up and answer another question that you asked, Chris, when you came to visit a few years ago, you saw our studio, that small space. They moved to a much bigger space, and got busy with other shows and the movie. And I think maybe just because I'm an independent contractor, and I kind of had this lucky little slot in that small space. Once they get to a bigger space, they needed more room for animators and writers and various things, but also, like, I was not really an employee, so it was my time to come home. So I was working at home for 6 months before everybody was working at home. So all of a sudden in March, they shut down, and they send the whole crew and animators and everybody home in the period of like 48 hours. It was completely nuts. And I thought the wheels are going to come off the wagon for sure, because there's no way that, like, all of these people, there's hundreds of people involved in this, and all the different shows, and even more in administrative staff and everything. But the producers and Lauren especially did just like a mind-blowing, amazing job of getting it up and running so that people could work at home. And we kept this show posting
I
through the
am
spring, and it just was a shock to me that could even happen. So I felt like, you know, there's a lot of room for me to put in MIDI and virtual instruments and stuff, but I felt like it was a time when like I really wanted to like make sure that I kept the musicians that I was starting to work with more and more, you know, working, because they're at home now, they're not touring or anything,
for sure.
and it just really came together and just felt really good to me, that particular episode and song. um, and so that's why I wanted to share that one.
I am
I had
curious.
one other thing to say about it, but I can't. Just spacing on it right now.
Well, while you're thinking about that, I'm curious how, just to dial in a little bit more on that same sort of topic. I don't know if you were actively working during the writer's strike or not, but I know there's some interesting parallels between the writer's strike that killed so many shows back when that all happened, and this pandemic where we all got shut down for a friggin' year, and everyone had their panic to go, oh well, we need to trim back on funding, and we need to get people separate, and you now have a whole industry, all the performers who, unless they had a specific voiceover gig and the equipment to handle something like that, it all got very, very challenging. How much, from your point of view, did that kind of parallel, or was it just not even a thought?
I would have to like. I don't really remember us getting interrupted by the writer's strike,
Really?
so I have to go back and look. I think maybe the way it happened was at downtime for the on hiatus for the show or something. I would have to review it. I just don't remember it being affecting my workflow at all ever.
Yeah.
And I remember we thought it might, and there was a lot of talk about it maybe, but it never materialized as something that I had to like work around or deal with.
Wow.
So now that you ask,
yeah.
I want to actually go back and look up the timeline of that and just sort of like compare and figure out like what was I doing? Where was I for the duration of that? Because we're definitely a union shop and didn't like work when we weren't supposed to be working or anything. But I just don't remember it coming up at a time when it was critical for us in the way that the pandemic thing did. And I remembered what it was I was going to say a few minutes ago. It was just like felt like a double miracle last spring, just because of everybody's hard work and a little bit of luck that we were able to successfully post the rest of those shows. But then we get through May or June, like where we are now. We're finishing that season of last year and starting to do the new stuff. Everything that we posted, we could kind of like take a deep breath and feel like, oh, we made it. We got those off. But those were all in post. Those had all been recorded and largely animated. There was still a shit ton of work to do at that time, but it was can I swear on this?
Oh,
Yes.
please.
So the FCC is gonna
Just don't show your dick.
Yeah.
That's
No
for
dick
other
pics.
reasons.
No
That's
tubing.
for other reasons.
No
though,
tubing.
Other reasons. But so we got through that, and it was like a sigh of relief. But then all of a sudden, we're starting to do new episodes, and I thought, well, the post, that's a different story, because like 90% of the work is done. But then they managed to go through the whole year and do the rest of the new episodes, and that was crazy, because that started to get into what we were talking about before. They sent rigs to all the cast, and everybody had like to figure out how to mic themselves and do it. And to their credit, like this whole last season sounds pretty good.
Amazing. Did you have to oversee any of that at home recording stuff, or not really?
I'm not really so much involved in the sound.
Oh, dialogue, right? Yeah.
The dialogue
different department.
or the sound mix or sound effects even. I came on as sound effects and music, but things grew exponentially, and it just became like more than I could really handle. So I'm just music, and I only do half of the series.
I did have a question.
Mhm.
Speaking of the
Right now,
music
you've got to.
too.
Yeah.
Um, right before we
Yeah.
started
Go ahead,
this,
Mike.
it's a quick question. Right before we started this, you played a little bit of the ukulele, and as soon as you played it, the first thing I heard was the opening sequence of Bob's Burgers. It was the first thing as soon as you played it. Where did you come up with that?
I didn't come up with it. That's
Yeah.
Lauren wrote that.
Lauren wrote it. Okay.
He wrote it, and he played the ukulele, and we re-recorded some of it. Some of it is his. Some of the ukulele track is his original first demo recording, and some of that original percussion I play on top of it on drums and bass and other keyboards and percussion and stuff. So it's kind of hard to pull it apart at this point. But some of it goes back to his original demo that he presented to Fox back
That
in the
answers
day.
my question perfectly.
Some of it was recorded in his studio, which was upstairs from a merengue bar. And if you had that track soloed, you can actually hear the merengue playing.
Nice.
Amazing. Excellent. John, I wanted to ask you that before we run out of time. You mentioned in our chat the other day that there was one thing that you found as a big challenge in writing the music for Bob's Burgers. Do you remember what that was? Making it bad enough?
Well, those are the two
Which is a
companion
funny way to put it.
challenges. Yeah,
Hmm.
the challenge of stitching together like an a cappella improv
Mm-hmm.
song into a song. That's like the opposite challenge, because that's where I have to like take something that's not really intended for public consumption as music and make it into music and actually make it good. But then there's a lot of times things will come up where either it's just sort of the character of the show, they want to have a homespun feel to some of it, and so sometimes things will be too good, which is something to fight with. And well, it's just like when somebody says it's too good, what do you say to that? Like, well,
Yeah.
thank you.
Right.
No, there is like a weird.
But then there's
aesthetic to
also
it, though.
character things where the one that is my favorite memory of this is Fred Armisen was on the show, and he was like a health department inspector, and they were trying to get on his good side, and by letting him do an open mic guitar and voice thing, singer-songwriter thing at the restaurant. And so I had to write songs for him to sing and play the guitar for him to be playing. And the first note I got on my first sketch was, no, that's too good. It should sound bad. It should sound like he has no business holding a guitar. It should sound terrible. And this is like fairly early in the show for me. And like, it's hard to not take it kind of personally, not personally what they're saying to me, but just like, I don't want to play bad on TV in front of people. I want to play good. And also like, I have slightly different ethos in mind of like more like the Neil Innes, like Monty Python's, where the music is like fully fledged, like serious, earnest music that's built in to support a joke. But I modulate it and I can get with it. Okay, this guy's got to sound like get the hook, get him off the stage. But in the moment, I was having a hard time with it because I kept sending them stuff, and I was still at that old space where you and I had lunch across the street at that bar. And I was there late night by myself, and I was sending it to things and sending it to people and getting notes back. Like, no, it just really should sound bad. So I went, all right, I need a break. I went across the street, had a burger and a beer, and then another beer, and then maybe a shot. And then I went back and I was just like, okay, you guys. So I took my guitar and I detuned the B string, and I just like, I plugged it through an amp. So it's an acoustic guitar going through a little Fender Champ. And I just tried to get the ugliest, shittiest sound. Played really hard. I was just like, take that. Is that bad enough? I sent it to them. They were perfect. That's
Play
it.
drunk. That's it.
Why
that was the
couldn't you
secret.
do it that
Play
way the
drunk.
first time? What's wrong with you?
Yeah. So, Clayton, would you mind playing that? I think John. What should he search for? It's Fred Armisen.
Bad at sex. Or
Oh,
good at sex. I'm good at sex. You're bad at sex. The
Bad
sex
at
song, I
sex.
believe. The Fred Armisen.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's
Sex.
very short, but it's hilarious, and it's definitely worth checking out. So, guys, when I noticed when the little thing comes up that says "click the stream," you have to click
you
the
have to
thing
look-
to actually
yeah,
see the
so you're
stream.
seeing
It
it.
won't play automatically. Yeah.
All right. So
Okay.
it's
Hey, did you know there are 5 things
It's
you're
a little bit of a longer clip here. So
Peace.
Yeah, you get a little dialogue in
Yeah.
it just to see
Oh,
the
okay.
sex.
Yeah, that's
just
true.
just to be aware here.
It's all right.
All right. So here we go.
So pay attention to the performance, the musical performance, you guys. He
You'll,
nails it.
I
this will
listened
be
to it
John
yesterday
drunk.
before I sent it to you. No, I'm not drunk. I'm in control. I've been
Okay.
on stage drunker than this, but I can definitely hear that the B is out. you will notice
Okay.
that it's definitely out of tune.
All right.
I'm looking
And,
forward to this.
Let's go ahead and rock this.
You can
on
full
here.
screen it if you want on the right hand side.
Yep. I'm gonna do that.
Nope, right of the. It's the square. See on the right.
I don't want to
Fine,
read all the
ready?
comments and say, why is the guitar out of tune?
Don't ever read the
You-
comments. That's
No, I
rookie
know,
rookie
it's-
mistake. Don't
that's-
read the comments. They're vile. All right, you ready?
I'm a bad man with the master plan, and the ladies call me Tex. And the one thing all the
that chord
ladies know is
especially
I'm
is good.
good at having sex, 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 sex. I leave my shirt on, that's okay. Don't make me feel self-conscious, babe. Sex, 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 sex. When you're done, say that was fun. We might have made a little son. I'm good at sex. You're bad at sex. 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 I'm good at sex. You're bad at sex.
How we doing, Jimmy Pestos?
I'm a bad man with a master plan, and the ladies.
So
Then for the end credits,
Oh,
I
yeah.
was allowed to like
Play out the whole thing.
make it a little bit better.
well,
Let's
that
hear
was
that.
my follow up question
you
is
hear
whether
that?
or not they gave you vindication. Like, did you then get to go full bore with it? Let's go ahead and share
Yeah,
that on at the end.
It still was like still keep it, still not completely polished.
Right. All right, hold on.
Call me Tex. And the one thing all the ladies know is I'm good at having sex, 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 sex. I'm good at sex. I'm good at sex. I'm very, 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 very good at sex. I am good. You are good.
I can
too.
hear the
You're
fingers
learning
going.
little by little. I'm guiding you with my hand and my arms. I'm good at sex. You're learning quick.
Oh
We-
my word.
Were you channeling "Hey Ya," the Outcast song? That's awesome.
I'm not even gonna lie. There's a lot of that sounded like the Violent Femmes.
Yep, I hear that too.
Yeah, yeah. It does.
There's a little bit of that.
John is a very violent fan. Um, I don't know how much more time you've got, John. Do you have another couple of minutes, or how we doing on time?
Yeah, I can.
Or you got to go?
No, I'm fine for another few minutes, for a little while.
Okay. You probably can't say anything about it, but I want to ask you anyway about the Bob's Burgers movie. Bob's Burgers movie. That's hard to say. Is there anything you could say about it? Probably not. I'm guessing.
It
really.
is going to happen, and it will please all of the fans.
Nice.
Excellent.
If that is
Excellent.
not a
Alright.
politician's response,
I
man, I
suppose
don't
that's
know what
all
it
we
That
is.
is so beautiful.
Yeah, I've been specifically instructed not to discuss it while it's in progress.
Even
To
if you're
spill.
Mark Ruffalo, you get in
Yeah.
trouble for saying shit like that. So
Nice. Good reference, man.
the poor guy.
I know. Yeah, whatever you do, don't live
Yeah,
stream
wow.
while it's being
So
played.
I mean,
My word.
my only other question was, I wondered whether, I mean, not that you who would want to leave Bob's Burgers? I mean, it's the dream job, I can imagine. But if it ever ended, or you had, you moved on, do you have any idea where you would go from here? Do you want to do more TV? Are you thinking more film, like cinematic? Do you want to get back in a band and earn no money at all?
Yeah, especially now because clubs are doing really well and
They're doing
touring
so well.
seems like I want to yeah, go on a world tour. I want to no, I would love to. I would love to do more animation. It's really fun doing animation. I like the process. I feel like I kind of have a sense of how to. But there's some pretty specific things. I'd love to do some live action stuff. I love doing comedy. I'd like to do some not comedy too, to just kind of balance things out.
So I'm curious then, to that same end, just because of what's his, and I've just dropped his damn name. What's his face from? Well, obviously Bob, and then Archer and
Benjamin?
Thank you, damn it. Yes, thank
You're
you.
welcome.
John Benjamin.
John
I love that.
Have
Mark
have
Ruffalo.
is Mark Ruffalo? Have you like had the opportunity, because he works on so many different things? Have you kind of gotten any of that? Like, hey, can you come over and do something for us on who was it, or Archer, or the Floyd County guys? I know they're totally separate studios.
Yeah, that's a completely separate studio
Right.
and separate thing. So like, it's pretty rare to go with an
The
actor
star power.
I suppose it happens, but it still could happen. I'd love to do that, but not through that. I've done Central Park through, Bento Box is producing that, so it's kind of more like within a production wheelhouse to
Okay.
kind of like have those relationships sort of turn into new things, and that's like a whole different vibe from Bob. So that's kind of fun and fresh air, but it's a different thing.
Is it does it feel stale after 10 years for you?
Bob's?
Yeah.
Not. There are some things that are a little bit like that I wouldn't say stale, but like there's a sound and a formula to certain kinds of parts of the underscore.
Right.
But that I'm always kind of intrigued at ways to try to not reinvent it or like freshen it up too much, but just like make it sound better and just like work on my orchestrations and just have that part of it. That's just sort of like a technical challenge to me. So in that sense, it's like engaging, but it's not what drives me. If that's all the work that there was, then maybe yeah. But the songs and the episode specific parts of the music, sometimes there'll be like a pretty more involved Hollywood type sound to the underscore. Those and the songs give me such an opportunity to do so many different styles of music that I have no business being involved with. Like I did a Balkan band thing for one thing, and I know these guys that are great.
Oh, awesome.
They're right over
Wow.
the hill from me. I can give you the link to that one. You want to hear that? And it's just like the opportunity of getting to work with people like this. Where do I paste this?
If you want to,
So right above public broadcast, there's public broadcast text chat. Do you see that?
Yeah.
Right above the one with all our names in it on the left, it says public broadcast text chat. Click there, and then just paste it down the bottom where it says message.
Perfect.
There we go.
All right, Twitter
these
folks,
guys-
or not Twitter.
These
tweet.
guys were great to work with. They're an amazing band, and I just hired them all wholesale to come be my band for it. And I'm playing keyboards underneath it to just add a little bit of element of like turbo folk disco, Balkan disco. Turbo folk. Did you know that was a thing?
I didn't know that was a
And
thing.
No.
because I worked with these guys.
I-
Yeah, like they wanted something that had like the Borat music vibe to it, and I went to these guys. I had seen them at a bar recently. Petrovich Blasting Company is their name, and they're an amazing group. I'll send you later a link that you can listen to their music. And they were super cool. They didn't like write the music for me at all, but they just kind of gave me a quick primer on what the structure of Romanian Balkan music is, and so I sent them a quick sketch, and they were like, "Oh yeah, you've got it." And then they executed it so well. It just sounds great. And then I said it's got to have that kind of thumping under bass, and they were like, "Oh yeah, turbo folk is what that's called."
That's fucking awesome.
And that's like that. It's like the traditional wind band, like tuba bass, but it's got like, disco drums underneath it. And if you search for it online, you very quickly go down like this right-wing channel of like finding all this like kind of horrible Balkan War
Oh Lord
stuff. And these songs that you're just like, this is a nice little jaunty little Balkan groove. Then you realize, you read the subtitles, oh, this is about war crimes.
now I
proudly
feel
committed.
dirty. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's
Anyway,
let's get this this party started here.
Hey, yo, get it. Hey, yo, get it. Hey, yo, get it, yo, get it, yo, get it. Yo, get it. Hey, yo, get it. Hey, yo, get it. Hey, yo, get it, yo, get it, yo, get it. Hey. Hey.
So
That's insane.
I've got to know
those guys are so good.
Awesome.
with respect to like the pacing of the animation behind that. How much information do you get from production or animation for that matter about like, okay, so we're running this on so many frames, and we want to get the animation of these people in the background doing the thing past the window.
They usually ask me for a sketch.
Okay.
And it's those things are 33 seconds always, those end slugs. And so I know kind of what I have to work with, and sometimes it's really fun for the to cut you off midstream.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's fun for the thing to end, and then that thing hits. So I just have to like quickly figure out what the song is going to be and the time, and I send it to them, and then they animate to that usually. Every once in a while, I'll get something that I have to conform.
So your
to
BPM
something.
just can't change.
After that, yeah, and that can get tricky,
Okay.
especially if sometimes they'll do it to temp, and then I have to write the song to whatever they did it to.
Yeah. God, and so you've
But
got
that one's
10
funny
Oh,
because
God.
I think it's pretty successful.
Yeah.
As
Yeah.
with Dave Herman just going, yo good, yo good, yo good, yo good. It's funny, and I get it. But I actually pitched lyrics for it, and it was kind of summing up the story of the episode, which was yogurt, somebody stole my yogurt, and I had a whole B section to it. And so my son at the time ate a shit ton of yogurt every morning, and I used to sing that while I was writing it and when I would make his breakfast. And so he still has asked me to sing the yogurt song to him, but it never exists. It only exists in this house. But
How old is your son now?
Wow.
he's 7 now, but he was about 3 or 4 when that happened.
Yeah, you gotta love those things that then extend beyond the years, and you're like, you realize that when you're a teenager in high school, this is the story that's going in your yearbook, right?
And now your song exists
Yeah.
with us. Now every time
Yeah.
I see that episode, I'll hear your song instead of the one that's on there.
Great. That was my stealth mission today. To
Well done.
get my
Well
thing,
done.
my sketch out
Yeah.
there. But sometimes
Shall
it
live
blows
in
the other
infamy.
way, because like I'll spin some lyrics that I just think like I'm giving you placeholder.
Mm-hmm.
This happened today actually, and I can't say it because it's
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
it hasn't aired yet. But you have the talent did a verse, and then there's we need something else, and I know that they're going to replace my thing, so I just throw some stupid thing that I just. But then last night I got an email. I love that. Like, okay, well now it's about bears.
There is a certain amount of magic when shit like that happens. You go,
Yeah, I love it. That's really
Yeah.
by far the funnest part of the
Serendip-
when you just like, what do you think of this? Oh yeah, it's stuck to the wall. Look at
There's
And it's not rolling down; it's staying there.
there's
that.
absolutely
You just
things that
leave it there,
we've
wouldn't
written
you?
that way.
You just
Yeah.
leave it there. You know what that's from?
Actually, that sounds very familiar.
The Odd Couple when he
Oh.
throws
Right.
the genie on the wall.
Right.
Very nice.
God, that was ancient.
What a
okay, we're
bizarre
dated
show.
now.
I think the only other time that
know, I hate
I've
it.
seen that actor was no, he was in some other movie, but I watched him in Shakespeare in the Park in New York City.
Tony something? Wait, are
Uh-huh.
you talking about the original one? The original Odd Couple?
No. I'm talking about oh damn it! It's not even the Odd Couple. It's fucking. Wow, what's his name? He's from.
Oh man, come on.
You know what I'm talking about?
You're
Yeah,
thinking of the
Clayton.
producers.
Not the producers. Oh shit! He's a
The what?
foreign guy who comes
Matthew-
in. They're
Matthew Broderick?
roommates.
Not Matthew Broderick.
No.
Zero Mostel? What?
I'll find it. I'll find it. I'll,
Foreign guy with-
I'll
He's got to have to Google. He's using the
I'll
Google
redeem,
machine.
Yeah,
now.
I'll redeem myself. You just go and do ignore the man behind the camera.
I totally heard what you were talking about, John, and I was like thinking Tony, what's his name from the Odd Couple, and the original one from like what, the 50s, 60s?
60s.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the throwing the pasta on the
60s.
wall, that was Jack Lemmon and Walter
Yeah.
Matthau.
Yep. Oh, right. Okay. Yep.
You just leave it there, wouldn't you? Until it gets all hard.
Those two are
That's
such a.
great.
They were such a
That's
lost
good. That was
beauty. Such a lost beauty. Those two.
The Odd
Yeah.
Couple introduced me to flamenco guitar
Uh huh.
with and I'm gonna botch the name of this one too. Magloenta.
I have no idea who that is.
Oh yeah, they used to have like,
Malaguena?
Yes.
Yeah.
the
Malaguena.
Malaguena.
It blew my mind.
Yeah,
Uh huh. I'd never heard it before. Blew my friggin' mind, and I've since now loved flamenco guitar.
Who played it? Was it because they had like, you know, the famous people of the day.
The
like,
Tubes.
The Tubes.
Jesus.
I'll tell you in 2 seconds.
The Tubes did. They did a version of it. It's awesome.
on The Odd Couple with Tony Randall.
Mulligan
Tony
Kissler,
Randall.
Ella
Thank
Rose-
you. Could not remember his last name.
Oh. Yeah.
Guitar.
Was it Roy Clark? Was it the one with Roy Clark? The
It might have
Oh,
been.
it could have been.
The
Yeah,
blue
it could have
guy?
been.
Yes,
guy,
it was,
'cause,
it
like-
was
that
Roy
one.
Clark.
Was it Roy?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, because like he was demonstrating his range, right? Because he comes on and does his bluegrass thing, and I don't know if somebody sassed him about being like a hillbilly or something, but then he busts out the Malaguena.
Flamenco, yeah.
I
Because
just-
he did dueling banjos too, right?
Yeah. Oh, did he?
Was it him?
the
don't
the clip
know.
in particular that I'm
No.
thinking of is
That's guy's name.
the whole thing ends with like, well, you know, play us something, play us a tune or whatever, and he goes, well, I tell you what, I'm gonna play something I want to play, and he just rocks
Oh, yeah,
this
yeah, yeah.
out,
Oh,
and you're
that's-
like,
yeah, that's what it was.
fuck, I got blisters on my fingers. Wrong instrument, but nevertheless.
Right.
Speaking of banjo, I'll just give
Yeah.
you a little like Bob's Burgers banjo Easter egg. There
Yeah.
was one episode where Bob has a fantasy of playing banjo, and he buys one and plays it. But I do all the playing when Bob's playing it, because it's that again, like, he can't play. It's like fingers stuck in the strings kind of thing. But in his fantasy, he's like Steve Martin.
Nice.
And so I got this guy who's a ripping banjo player to come in and do it, named Bill Knopf, and he's actually done banjo for me on a couple of things. I've had a few needs for banjo on the show, and he told me when he shows up like on a bicycle with with a banjo in
In a holster?
like kind of like in a holster, like in the trailer,
Like
you like
Okay, yeah. Baskets.
trailers, a basket. And I'm thinking, like, is this guy serious? Is he going to be able to play? And he gets in and he's like, let me see what you, because I had written it out because I didn't know what I was dealing with. And he looks at the music and he just like reads it off like note for note. But then he's like, but do you want it like this? And then he retools it banjo style. You want getaway music? And just completely nails it, can read it, but he just looks like he just wandered in from the farmer's market. Like, amazing player, but like did not expect him to be like a studio cat.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Yep.
And then he said, yeah, did you ever see the Dukes of Hazzard? You know that banjo? that was me.
Oh
No
wow.
Okay.
way, dude. That's awesome.
Oh,
Deliverance? Yeah, me
That's
too.
hilarious. By the way, Dueling Banjos was Eric Weisberg and Steve Mandel.
Thank you.
For those who are listening and were wondering about that.
And my complete fucking aneurysm
John, it's been
on
great having
air.
you. Does
It
anybody
was
have any other
Perfect
questions before we go?
Strangers.
Yeah, I should probably wrap it up because there's
Oh.
about to be like
Right.
a thunderous arrival of a 7-year-old, and you're gonna hear how
Sure.
non-soundproof my studio
Oh.
is.
Man, above me right now,
The
there is a
pitter-patter of
sounds
trampoline,
great.
feet.
and my kids didn't, regardless of when we're recording or any, my kids will jump on this trampoline, like, holy shit. So I get it.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, I'm right there with
constantly.
you.
I mean, I do a fair amount of
Yeah.
in the box stuff, or plugged in guitar. But if I'm using this thing
Yeah.
or this thing, oftentimes we'll have to go upstairs and say, "Keep it down."
I'll get the taser out.
The old man's working.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, but mine's usually the one where I have to tell the other people, I'm going to be screaming like I'm dying, so it's
Yeah.
just me recording. Don't.
Don't worry.
Right.
Yeah, it's okay. You don't have to call an ambulance. It'll be fine.
Yeah, they're like upstairs. They're like, "What? Why do you have yogurt down there anyway? Who stole your yogurt?"
And why is it about bears?
That's great.
Man, I've thoroughly enjoyed this.
Thanks so much, John. You've been the
Yeah,
best.
thanks for having me. It was
Yeah.
great to
Yeah,
meet
thank
those
you
of
very
you
much.
that I haven't met, and good to catch up with you, Chris. And thanks for asking me to do it. Happy to chat.
You know what? Before you go, Amanda, are you there? So that green box with the icon.
Yes,
on it?
hi.
That's Amanda Goodman. Do you remember Amanda Goodman?
Hey, I saw your name.
Amanda
on
used
the
to do
Mandible
voiceover at
Judy
Bong and
stuff. Yeah,
Dern.
I remember you, and I saw your name on the Mandible Judy stuff, and I thought, oh, is that the same Amanda? Yeah, it must be.
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh.
Yep.
Hi.
Sure.
Hi.
Hello.
She's one of
You
our
look different
she's
now.
one of our voice
You look
artists.
like you look like your head looks like a bear's foot or something.
Yeah.
No, that's not me. I'm the orange, yellow ochre orange box with the generic.
Chris, you said
I don't know how to make an avatar on here, so I haven't made one.
Cinnamandi. That's you. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, I turned you up
Hi,
too loud. I'm
nice to
turning
see
you
you.
back down a little bit.
How have you been?
Anyway.
Good to see you. Yeah.
Hello, I must be going. Yeah. But John, again, thanks so much, and we'll let's be in touch, and I hope
Yeah.
we'll get out to LA one of these days, and we'll catch up. All right,
Great.
man. And we're looking forward to the Bob's Burgers movie and to the rest of the season.
And
So,
dare I
mean, the
say,
next season. Yeah.
if you want those Floyd County contacts, just drop me a line and we'll get you in there.
Floyd County. I missed
He,
it.
he's not
Floyd
getting
County?
As
He's
in
not
with
getting
the Archer.
Oh yeah. Yeah, get me in there.
We get some contacts for you there. Yeah, I know a bunch
Yeah,
of
there you go.
animators in there.
Make it happen.
Sounds
If
good,
you
man.
guys need me-
Awesome.
it. Yeah.
Awesome.
All right, thanks. Good night, guys.
Great meeting you, John.
John.
Take care.
Bye.
Okay. Take care. We're gonna carry on, so we'll yeah.
Soldier on.
So,
Although
guys,
we only have about what 15 minutes until
now
you
we
go,
have- we have-
Jim.
And also, it would be a
Yeah,
good
I've
time
got to
for
get
Chris
out of here in
to
about 15 minutes. So
reset anyways, because you're lagging again.
I need to get a sound effect for that.
Laggity lag lag lag.
Well, now you're back on. See?
Yeah, awesome. Thanks.
If people are, well, it's a 3-minute thing. I was gonna say I will pull up the Roy Clark now that we've already. Wow, we'll probably get James the idea.
That we might get. That we, this stuff all ends up at YouTube, right? So
Yeah, they may
Don't-
may frown on that,
yeah.
so I won't do that one.
yeah, I don't.
Yeah, they get really pissy about that.
Those those of you in the stream though, go check out the Roy Clark on the Odd Couple because it is mind blowing. It is
Yeah, I
just
remember
so
it.
friggin' cool.
When you mentioned it, I was like, oh yeah, that episode. I mean, I must have seen every episode of that show like 5 times because, it was on like I think it was on right before Twilight Zone, every night on WPIX New York local station, and it's just like you're falling asleep in front of the TV. I probably had like a little black and white portable or something, and that would come on and it was like, yes, comfort food TV.
Dude, I was watching that stuff on a Grundig. This is the only the old guys are going to know what that is if you even remember what a Grundig is.
Oh yeah.
And I was trying to remember what is the name of that show that Roy Clark was on, that variety
Yeehaw.
show. Yeehaw. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I forgot all about that. And as soon as you said that, I was like, wait, what is that? And who else was on that show?
Buck Owens,
Yep.
Buck Owens and Roy Clark. And it's funny. I grew up like with that stupid show, like being on, and I was like, it was so far afield of me culturally in my youth.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
was
yeah.
into progressive rock, and that was like what I thought of as really commercial country music.
Mhm.
And what I didn't know was the history of those guys. They are both unbelievable badasses, like
Mhm.
both Roy Clark and Buck Owens, and also amazing people. They were like, I think it was Buck Owens was like super helpful to other like younger musicians in the country music scene. And just like helped them come up. And but I've recently learned this from a great podcast called Cocaine and Rhinestones. If you guys want to hear a music history podcast that's
Holy shit!
impossible to put down, it's
That
really
sounds
good.
perfect. That
Yeah,
sounds
it's all
perfect.
about the history of country music, which I think I like, 3 country artists in total, and they're George Jones, Hank Williams, and maybe Tammy Wynette. I don't know, maybe more than 3.
Reba McEntire.
Reba McEntire's awesome. There are a lot, actually Willie Nelson, but to learn like the history of like where this came from, and it's kind of amazing, and the lives of these people. Holy shit! I mean, like the Judds. Wow.
Yeah.
There's a family with a story, man. I mean,
Oh,
a
yeah.
real tragic,
Yep.
funny, like heartbreaking. It's an amazing story. Really amazing
Huh.
story.
There's a reason
Yeah.
they sing country, my friend.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. That is true. And then there are other country stars that, like who was it? The woman who did Harper Valley PTA. I can't remember her name.
Oh, I hear the song in my
Billy-
head. I know what you're
Billy,
talking about.
No, not Billy. What the hell's her name? Ah, God, I can't believe I've forgotten.
Google it.
I
Harper
didn't
Valley
know.
PTA.
Yeah, I'm embarrassed.
Gosh, what was that? Was that a sitcom or what was
Well,
Harper Valley
became
PT?
it became a TV show based on the song. The song was a hit.
Song was
Oh.
first, yeah.
Jeannie C.
It
Riley.
was, Jeannie C. Riley, but wait, is that the one? God.
But I remember
I-
that
it
song.
was, it was
Shit,
written
God,
by
I have not heard of Harper Valley PTA since back then.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It was apparently
So,
written by Tom T. Hall.
Yes, Tom T. Hall. So there's a whole 3 episodes on Harper Valley PTA in Cocaine and Rhinestones. 3 whole episodes just on that one song.
Jeez.
Because it was done multiple times. It was from different points of view. The singer, and the writer and the producer. But what I was actually thinking of, was Ode to Billy Joe, which was a similar hit that I think I can't remember now which was based on what. I think Ode to Billy Joel was basically a kind of a cheap knockoff of Harper Valley PTA. I believe that's the way it went. I hope I'm not doing anybody wrong here. But Bobby
Do 'em
Gentry
wrong, man.
was
Just
the
own it.
singer. Yeah, the singer of it was this woman Bobby Gentry, and she's like got a genius IQ, and she like, like just basically became her own boss, and just like, just basically cut herself out a really good living, and bought and sold companies and just was like this, badass kind of corporate exec after being a country singer.
Oh, wow.
So it's just really weird the where these people start and where they end up.
And
It's
then
really interesting.
Cake wrote a song about her.
Oh
That's
yeah.
right.
Okay.
That's right.
Yeah.
I don't think that's actually accurate, but
It's close enough. I get exactly what you're talking about there. I always
So-
felt like too, because I grew up on a farm in a foster home of all things, and yet my style, the music that I ended up getting into, because I mean they kind of were really into it, was like Floyd, AC/DC, and the Beatles as a child. But I feel like I did miss, and I'm not a big fan of country. I mean, the Man in Black is still probably the only one that I really listen to, if I listen to any country at all. But there's a whole genre of music that I never got exposed to as a child, so that it didn't really infect me like a lot of these other types did. So I can see where that comes from.
So I'm curious, in the same end, like, would you put like the Leonard Cohens in with country? Because the aesthetic is very similar.
That's folk.
The material
It's
is very
more
similar.
like folk.
Yeah.
I think it's folk music. Yeah. I mean, think most people would agree, but I guess it's a matter of opinion. Also, he's Canadian, right? So, not that you can't have Canadian country music, you certainly can. But
What you saying?
he wouldn't
Canada
be in
ain't
the
got
same-
no country.
Well, I
I
think
mean,
it
like,
gets
what's Joni Mitchell? That's a much harder question.
right.
Oh.
Joni
She
Mitchell
folk?
is like
Is
folk
she-
and
is she
country
jazz?
because she
Yeah.
does
And
that
jazz.
whole over the edge thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Like, I think you could make a stronger case for her being jazz more than the
Yeah.
other two.
Right. Okay.
You know,
Yeah.
So it's even like it's kind of hard to say, but I mean, I think there are definitely people. I mean, she did play the Grand Ole Opry, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
maybe that's what determines whether you're a country star or
If
not.
you've played the
but she
Opry?
did it when she was like, when she was like 16 or something. So another Canadian, right? Neil Young, also Canadian. There are a lot of Canadian folk singers.
But
You
I
know,
think it
it's-
has everything. Yes, it still comes down to whether or not what you're playing at the time. Because I mean, you look at someone like Ministry, for instance. Ministry started out as kind of a
Best country band I know.
right, but they were like seriously poppy. Like their first couple of stuff seriously
I was
poppy,
trying to
and then they
figure
turned
where we
into
go with that. I was like,
right.
wait,
But it was
what?
how did I get to Ministry? Because of
Yeah.
the fact that whatever you're playing during a specific era can really nail you down as far as what type of music you are.
Right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's true.
That's too fucking funny. It's
I
too
know.
funny.
You're welcome.
So, I think it's interesting. I mean, any of those. Oh well, they're Canadian. Like you look at Canada as far as the industries that they have, and a vast majority are logging, ranching, like all these things that typically Americans identify as like, oh no, that's a cowboy lifestyle, and we haven't had cowboys like that in outside very specific areas of the United States in a long fuck off time. Canada, meanwhile, has not stopped. I mean, it's
a very, very large part of Canada is wilderness.
Yeah.
So that's probably part of it.
And very
there's-
cold.
Yeah, very cold. Oh my
Man,
God.
you say
Winnipeg.
that,
We've talked about that.
but they're just two ends of the extreme. I mean, you go to any of the forests in that, like in British Columbia, for example, and the summers in their grasslands, they'll hit 100 degrees, no problem.
Yeah.
Zero rain, the whole bit. I mean, it's insane. And then you get down
No, it's
to
more
negative
like
40.
Yeah, it's more like Alberta and
Yeah.
like up around the middle of the country and the north. Like Winnipeg's already really cold. In the winter, it's unbelievably cold.
Mm-hmm.
I was there in February, and it was, oh my God, it was bone chilling. Like I never was warm the entire time I was there. It was crazy. I loved it though. It was really wild. What a crazy, big, weird city. It's so. They have so much space there that everything is really spread out. Like the houses are gigantic. The streets are really wide. It's just strange. It's like, I mean, not all of the streets, but a lot of them were quite wide.
What town did you say?
Winnipeg.
Winnipeg.
Oh, Winnipeg.
It's one of my favorite towns mainly because of Guy Madden, the film director, is from there.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
And he
Oh,
made a
that's
great
right.
film called My Winnipeg, which is about his upbringing, a very
Huh.
fictionalized, ridiculous version of his upbringing. But yeah, it's pretty fun. Um, yeah. Wow.
What a bizarre.
Canada. Oh,
Oh,
Canada.
We definitely, yeah, we.
The fact that we both are gonna go for the friggin' national anthem. How do you not? How do you not? Oh, Canada.
I almost like went right over it with the "Blame Canada" song, and so I kind of
Yes,
let that one
beautiful.
go.
Blame
Yeah, it was a
Canada.
great song.
Chris, do you see a relationship between Guy Madden and the Quay brothers at all? Because
Oh, yeah.
they're buddies. They're all
I,
buddies.
I imagine they would be. Yeah, they're both really weird. Let's put it that way. And from a
Okay.
layman's point of view, they're very strange.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think of them as very similar in a lot of ways. I mean, the Quaid brothers obviously much more on an animated side.
Hmm.
Have the Quaid brothers done live action?
Yeah, they did one, The Piano Tuner of Earthquakes.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think it was.
That is a title.
Oh, you know what? That was actually showing when we were at the Machinima festival thing at MoMA. They were there the day or so after you were there.
You just missed him.
Yeah, MoMI, right. American Museum of the Moving Image, right?
Yeah.
The one in Queens, yeah. I remember that. I have a lot of pictures from that, right? Yeah,
Huh.
God, I totally forgot. I mean, I don't remember much about that weekend besides meeting a lot of people and you guys being there, and that was awesome. Actually, John Keith was there.
Really?
Yeah, John was there because John is, we didn't even talk about this, but John is the co-creator of The Spartan Life.
Oh, I didn't
was
know
a
that.
TV
Okay.
series in which Amanda also voiced a character.
Yeah.
But he, it's not really that relevant to Mandible Judy, but it was a Machinima talk show. We've talked about it before, I think, on the show. But John,
What?
and I came up with I came up with the idea, but really by bouncing things off of John and him, like, just whatever, coming up with jokes, and I would throw them in there.
Huh.
But
What year was that? That Machinima festival at MoMI?
that would have been 2007. Yeah, 2007. No,
Or
sorry.
2005 to 7, somewhere in there.
It was maybe it was 2006. It was the second
Oh,
one that
okay.
we won something at the first two.
Uh-huh.
So the first one was 2005, and the second one was 2006. Wait, no, that's not right. The first one was 2000. I don't know. Yeah, I think it was 2005, and the second was 2006.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And that was a really fun one where the Rooster Teeth guys were there, and we all got to meet each other and everything, and was yeah, and there was a lot of public drunkenness. It was really exciting. I gotta
Oh, I don't think I was around for too much of
yeah,
that
I think
part, but
it was maybe just on the closing night. I think were you only there for one night or 2 nights?
I don't know, but I do know that yeah, I went the day after to see the Piano Tuner of Earthquakes,
nice.
and then and reunited with just said hi to the Quays. So
Oh, wow, they were great. They were there. Great.
they were there, yeah. And I couldn't believe that the small worldness of that being this at MoMI right after this thing that I was doing with you guys.
Yeah, that's really funny. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're great. I really love their stuff. Street of Crocodiles is one of my favorite things ever.
That's the one that put them on the map.
Yeah, exactly. If you guys have never seen this, look it up. Street of Crocodiles by the brothers Quay. It's Quuay, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
That sounds very familiar.
Yeah, it's a pretty well-known experimental film from the 80s, but it's experimental. It's pixelation, right? It's stop
Right.
motion.
Stop
So
motion,
yeah.
stop motion, and they're just as much into stillness as they are about motion. I mean, it's their animation is so cinematic, and they're so influenced by live action filmmakers
Were
that
they
I
the-
think it's then they'll do this wonderful, little bits of magic here and there with the animation, but it's not it's less about that than so many stop motion filmmakers are.
Were
Yeah.
they
About-
the ones that ended up working with Tool?
No, that's sort of, I think a lot of people thought that that's the Tool video was influenced by,
Okay.
there's a lot of people who've been influenced by the Quays,
Got it.
but you have to truly be a real artist to, they're fine art, you know, they're I think a lot of people might,
Yeah.
you know, try to be imitating, but there's nobody can really touch what they do.
Yeah, people get the shtick, but they don't get the the crux of it.
Got it.
I think I believe the Street of Crocodiles has some references to Buñuel, right? Luis Buñuel.
Could be.
I think so. If I remember correctly, there was some references to Chien Andalou.
Oh,
Yeah, which is one of my favorite films, and he is my favorite director.
yeah.
But yeah, they're cool. And Guy Madden, man, wow, yeah, he's amazing.
I haven't seen his films.
Yeah, the thing is, he's got a very, very big oeuvre of work, and you can't just jump into it because every film is different. Some of them are ridiculously funny in a really absurdist way, and some of them are really serious and tragic. Probably the most accessible one is called The Saddest Music in the World. And it's got Isabella Rossellini in it, and one of the guys from Kids in the Hall, and I can't remember his name. One of the stars of Kids in the Hall is the male lead.
Oh,
And it's ostensibly a drama, but it's so absurd and over the top. I mean, the plot is I've got to go, but the plot of this movie is that there's a beer brewer in somewhere up around Winnipeg or whatever in the tundra of Canada.
yeah.
And they're running on hard times, so they have a contest to create the saddest music in the world. I don't know how they come up with this, but it's really, and like if you lose, you go down this log flume full of beer and end up in a beer tank.
my
And,
God.
yeah, it's really strange. And there, Isabella Rossellini is the heiress to this fortune of this brewery, and she's got she lost her leg, and her replaced leg, her fake leg, is made out of glass, and it's clear, right? It's a clear glass.
Oh my
leg,
God.
and
Interesting.
and it's full of beer. Like it's like a advertising gimmick, I guess. And there's one scene where somebody drinks all the beer out of her leg. It's amazing.
Wow.
Yeah, so
There's one
that-
quick thing I think I remember either reading or hearing something where the Quays said one of the differences is that Guy Madden has a sense of humor and that they don't.
Yeah, Guy Madden definitely has a sense of humor. That's really funny for them to say that.
It's something like that.
Guys, on that note, I've got to drop out. So please carry on and have fun. I've got to go. So I'm going to my stream for the Here Now Festival. I'm going to be on a panel immediately, actually at 11 o'clock. So when you're done, if you want to, let me see. I'll
Where can we watch?
Leave
Do you
the
have a
link,
link?
yeah.
let me
link in.
see if I can get that for you really quick because
I think is it for sort of content? And I say contest is for convention goers only.
No, it's open to the public to watch.
Nice.
You just can't interact and you can't be in the breakout rooms or any of that stuff.
Okay.
So I think I'm going to send you this one, and if this is not it, I'm sure you can find it based on this. But I really do have to go, unfortunately.
Go, go, go.
Okay, thanks. Good night, all.
Yeah.
Enjoy
I'll
this.
see you guys soon.
Yeah, enjoy the panel, man. Have an awesome time.
Thanks.
Yeah, man.
Enjoy.
Thank you for everything tonight, guys. Take
Bye.
care.
Bye.
That was exciting.
That's gonna be a really cool panel. Yeah, that's gonna be fascinating.
I think it was just a really cool. This whole thing has been really good tonight in general. I mean, it's been the fattest amount of people we've had in here in a while.
Yeah,
Like last week, what do we have? 4?
I think so.
Yeah. But it was really good.
It was fun. Gotta get I gotta try and figure out how to get all of like the play stuff to show up in the stream to show up in the Discord for everyone to watch, while also playing it to the streamers, because that's a whole.
It is kind
separate
of a
thing.
nightmare. I think the only way to do it is to literally stream it, but there might be a separate way that you could set it up. Because I mean, you can set up in, like, you see how you've got a music channel in here?
Mm-hmm.
You can actually set up a bot that searches YouTube for you when you type in a search algorithm, and it's literally just like exclamation point search, and then it'll give you a choice of like 10 things,
Mm-hmm.
and then when you choose something, it'll play the audio automatically in whatever channel you're in. So there might be a way to do that video wise.
Gotcha.
You could just literally just look for bots in Discord bots. There's a whole ton of them, man.
Mark, you're gorgeous.
Yeah, Mark, you were so distracting earlier, man. What the hell? Jesus.
I'm jealous of the beard, man. I can't grow a beard to save my life.
Yeah, I used to not be able to grow a beard.
Yeah, me too. When I was like 12.
Oh, see, that's not nice. My dad, I'm sure about the same age, could grow a beard like fucking Santa Claus, and I look like a cat with mange. So
Now mine comes out like that for like 2 weeks, and then it just stops. That's it. It doesn't go any further.
Oh yeah.
It just stops.
Further than this, it goes a little bit. It goes like another inch or two, and then like I gotta.
Yeah, it just gets out of control.
Yeah, no, well, and the worst part is that I actually have more hair on my face than it looks like because the hair is blonde. I have like a combination of blonde beard, and every now and then, it's like I'm holding these like invisible, comfortable too.
So, I think you and I probably have the same problem. As soon as you start growing a beard, it just looks like your face sparkles. Because the light,
I'll go with that. Yeah.
The light just catches the sort of the hairs, and because they're so blonde or they're so red, it just lights up, and you're like, well, I'm not from fucking Twilight. Thank you very much. I just don't have a lot of pigment. Thank you.
So, we're not still doing the.
Yeah.
100% are.
100% are. You are still live.
Are we allowed to talk about like Billie Eilish or whatever? Have you guys know what's happening with that?
I don't know what's happening with that, but I can do some quick research.
I'll give you the rundown, and while you do research. But she's under fire because when she was like 13 or 14 or something, I don't know. When she was like super young, she mocked. I think she mocked an Asian accent, and she was just caught doing some.
Apologizes for lip syncing anti-Asian slur.
Oh yes, like that. But yeah, and
when you're like 13 years old, what are you thinking?
Yeah, and another thing is that like people are really mad at her, and I get it. It's not like I'm not like, oh shit, she should be, her career should be over. And it's like, well, let's take a few steps back and realize that she was a teenager, and that even as adults, we all do regrettable shit.
Yeah.
And like, I'm only 20, and look, I'm recently like it's been giving me a lot of anxiety because I really want. I mean, I want to be a famous voice actor, but like I want to be a well-established voice actor.
That's probably a better
and
one.
I'm worried like one day they're gonna see like an old text I sent. And look, like yeah, of course I regret a lot of the things that I said. I used to be like a huge conservative. I used to say and believe like abhorrent shit when I was younger, and like I've grown, and like I don't know. I feel like people are really unforgiving nowadays, and it's look. I don't think Billie Eilish's career deserves to be over. I think that she did dumb shit when she was a child.
Right. So, and here's the other challenge is that I mean, and I don't know the context here because I haven't seen it, and I'm just looking at sort of what the Washington Post says. But
what you have to do before I start
the challenge that you run into here, and I don't condone racial slurs and so on, but especially when you're talking about being a voice actor, you may get asked to do any number of different accents. I had an audition once upon a time for a sort of a kung fu novel. So it was all set in some fictional Asian thing, right? It wasn't China, it wasn't Japan, it wasn't Vietnam. It was some fictional thing. And the request in the notes was to have a couple different Asian accents. And so I said, okay, cool, well, I'll do it. And so I have the light Asian accent and the hard Asian accent. And depending on who you are, you might see my doing, as a bald white guy, certainly, my doing an Asian accent as really offensive.
Bald that people.
Dude, it's a thing. I'm like, I'm not a fucking skinhead. I just don't have working hair follicles, you
Right.
jerks.
Just leave them
Although,
alone.
fun side story. When I saw I got home from a family reunion cruise once upon a time. I was 24, and I still had enough hair that I was growing it out at that point. And I saw the pictures, and you could see the very bright shine of the lights through my hair, and I went, okay, it's time.
Time
So
to shave it.
So I shaved my head. Well, so at the same time, I had just moved into this rental that had a big chunk of property on the side that was all overgrown, and I wanted to build a fire pit. So I'm wearing some military pants because they're, the ones you can tie around the ankles, so I'm not getting like ticks and whatnot crawling up my legs.
Right.
I got some military boots because they're rugged. I had a bunch of nice shoes. I didn't want everything, and it was hot because it's in Georgia, and so I have a white tank top on. Lo and behold, I don't have a shovel. And so I say, well, fuck it. I'll go to Lowe's or Home Depot or whatever the hell it is, and I'll pick up said
I
equipment.
can already see where this is going.
So I go in. This is the day after I have started shaving my head. I've never been anywhere else in public without this. And people are being really weird around me. They're either being super nice and kind of scared, or super standoffish, and I'm like, I don't understand what the hell's going on here. And I go to walk into a gas station to buy like Red Bull or something, right after I've got a pickaxe and a shovel over my shoulder. And these two black guys are like, can we help you? And I catch a picture of myself in there. I catch a reflection of myself in the glass, and I go, oh fuck. Yes, I would like to purchase this Red Bull, please. I went home, and I never dressed like that again because you have to worry about the optics.
Yep. Somebody call the behavioral analysis unit. We're gonna
word.
have an issue coming up soon.
So to the same end, I mean, I think that you don't know what you don't know. What's the phrase?
Yeah.
Know better, do better, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like there are certainly some sins that you wouldn't want to forgive, but that's not to say that, look, we're all human.
Yeah, but those are reserved for like committing a hate. Like,
right.
I don't
fucking
think,
war crimes and shit. Right.
I don't think like okay, like let me like I don't think doing well not anything, but doing most regrettable stuff, especially when you're a kid, is worth people. And I see the comments on this, and I'm horrified. People think that she's a white supremacist. I'm like, you think she's a white supremacist for that? I don't know, man. That's a very specific type of behavior, but and that's a pretty big claim.
Yeah.
I don't know if that means that. And you're right. Like, know better, do better. I mean, I really truly don't think that there is any moment in your life where you can stop being a better, and you can stop.
Oh, for
sure. I don't think that the people who are making these very big judgments, but I get it. Like, I understand where they're coming from. People making these very big judgments, like, I don't think they understand that. Like, they're not even giving people till the age of 12.
There is an overall thing that you have to keep in mind, because the same thing is happening to you that's happening to the people that they're making those comments. Their vision is becoming narrowed to that one particular incident, and yours is too in this specific instance. They're not looking at the overall picture, and they're also not taking into account the fact that in time, nobody's going to care. With time, it's all gonna pass away, because there was an instance, and I don't know if you remember this, Clayton, but you remember the band Evanescence?
Yeah.
Amy Lee had a huge thing back when Evanescence was just starting out, like after the first couple albums, where there was a big thing where she was supposedly tied to child trafficking. Do you know anything about that, Mark? Do you even know who we're talking about?
That's one of the unforgivable stuff Clayton was talking about.
But do you know who we're talking about?
You said
Evanescence, Amy Lee.
Are those the
Evanescence.
people who are like, wake me up?
Yes,
Right,
bring
but
me
see,
to
that's
life.
what I'm saying is that you don't know really. You know who we're talking about, but the
I
incident.
know that one song because it became a meme, but
Right, but see,
um,
that's what I'm saying. In time, none of this is going to make any difference. And especially in this instance where it's literally this one thing that once people point out repeatedly, she was 13, man.
Yeah.
She was
Well,
13.
yeah, there's more than just that. Again, not to condone racial slurs and so on, but
no.
you do have you. The internet is a vile place. It will take
Yes.
and make extremists out of anything. I mean,
Mhm.
within the vast majority of heated arguments, which doesn't take much to start on the internet,
Nope.
within 5 comments, someone is comparing you to Hitler.
Yeah.
It will happen.
Every time.
It's a rule in the same sense that if there is a thing that exists, there is also pornography that exists about said thing.
Rule 34.
It just is what it is. So, I mean, I don't know, again, context, I don't know any of the context in this apart from what I'm reading right now, but, you know, it being a video of her when she was 13 or 14 mouthing a word from a song that used to be a derogatory term. And, you know, I certainly get it. I've also sung, you know, in my car rap at the top of my fucking lungs, and
We've all done things rather like I think like I see comment and one of the comments, not to get too off topic, one of the comments I saw was like, I'm just saying, when I was 14 years old, you'd never find a video of me doing that. And it's like, yeah, because you were raised correctly and you were raised to be a very polite young person, and more importantly, not to say regrettable dumb shit on camera,
yeah.
of all places.
Meanwhile,
They weren't internationally famous.
right.
Yeah, that too. And the how would you say, the judgment that you hold for yourself is not the moral compass you have for yourself and the moral compass that you're going to stow upon other people
Yeah.
are going to inevitably be two different things.
Yeah.
People are going to have different morals than you. I grew up like when I was 11, I was like on Xbox and everybody there was shouting incredibly, I'm not going to go into detail obviously, but it was incredibly derogatory
Well,
and
Racist.
gross.
Yeah,
Dumb.
dude,
Like,
I'll go there because you're absolutely right. Every Xbox that played Call of Duty when they
even
were
today,
11,
you can run into some lobbies.
it's
How I still.
how I'm gonna fuck your mother, and how there's
yeah.
I'll pee on her poop hole, like, because you're 11 and don't have a fucking clue what you're talking about. These are all things that you grow out of because you grow up, and not that it excuses the behavior at the time, but look, you, in a very literal sense, you are not even the same person. What is it? Every 7 years, your skeleton is entirely replaced. Your brain doesn't even have access to your prefrontal cortex until you're like 25. So you don't even
You're not the same
have
person. Yeah.
the full access to your own moral compass until well into and out of your adolescence. It's a people want a reason to get pissed off about something. They gotta have a thing to be distracted by.
I got sent an audition for somebody who was doing a animation for there's some kind of a meme going around having to do with a trans woman.
Okay.
I don't know much about it, but they wanted me to do the voice for it, and it was super derogatory,
Ooh.
and I turned it down.
It's
Straight up.
derogatory in the sense that it was trying to bring light to that sort of thing, or
No, derogatory in the sense that it was using the word like tranny and the stuff that you don't want to be associated with if you have any. Even for a character, I'm not going to do that. I'm just not.
Yeah.
I'm
How
a
would
little
you
bit
feel
too.
about publishing? Disgusting.
Yeah, it's a thing though. I mean, so that is a question, right? So in a short story that we do, so for Novus Opera, we've got a collection of short stories called Garfield's Crossing. It's all set in North Georgia mountains. There is racism a thing. It's obvious that is still an ongoing problem. And so some of our characters use derogatory and racial slurs. And then
I
to
feel
go
like
ahead and
that's different though.
well, so it gets to that question, right? Part of it was when we went through and we decided to do a full voice cast. I was like, well, I have this now moral dilemma of when I did the book on tape version of it, I said all the things because I wrote all the things, and I felt at least to some degree like, okay, I have that responsibility. But now I'm asking someone else to say this shit, and you're like, all right. Meanwhile, one of our actors, she's in a mixed race marriage or relationship, or however you'd like to say it, and she got an audition to be this in a fairly popular show to be the racist neighbor, and she's like, no, I'm not. No, I don't want to be that. I don't want to occupy that role, and I don't want that to be a part of my life. There are stories that do involve that kind of thing. So it's a weird continuum, and I think that everyone's going to have their own personal taste on it. I think there's also, there are things that just are inexcusable. I don't think you can just say, no, this didn't happen and ignore that it ever existed. But yeah, man, 13, she's 13. Don't
I think that, yeah.
Don't dredge
That
up
sort
the
of
past.
unforgivable stuff is reserved for the Kevin Spacey stuff that happened.
Right. Yes.
In the famous.
Yes. Did
And-
you take advantage of someone who didn't have the ability to say no and
Right, or
even did
Harvey
say no?
Weinstein,
Exactly,
or
exactly.
Bill Cosby. There's definitely places where it's you can point to it and definitely say,
yeah,
that was
You can
unforgivable.
definitely be like, yes, this is the worst thing ever, and you're never gonna. And that's that. Like that's fair, and like those people should not only not have a career, but those people should also be in prison.
Which
But
they
yeah.
are.
what I don't understand is how, like, so people like understand that there is a human, like, we kind of all share a similar moral compass where, like, if you do this, nobody's done. But if you do this, it's like we're gonna end your, like, if you do something bad when you were young, we're gonna end your career. And it's like, well, hold on, let's tap the brakes a little bit, dude. Let's find out if, maybe she was brought up bad, or maybe, like, and even then, like, even if we find evidence to suggest she understood right and wrong to the fullest extent,
Sure.
which she definitely didn't. She was still 14 years old.
Well,
Really?
Yeah, and it wasn't, I think, said in any way to intentionally harm someone. She's, from what I'm reading here, she's fucking around on
that's
a video.
another-
She's not like
That's a whole other thing that people ignore is the difference between saying regrettable things and then saying regrettable things towards someone.
yeah, using it
That's
as a weapon.
where it gets even worse, and people don't really seem to understand that there is a massive difference between doing something like being a white supremacist and then saying regrettable and racist things and I know that this would shock Twitter, are two very different. They're two very different.
Yes.
Right. Okay. A couple of points really simply. One, first of all, giving it as much attention as everybody's giving it is what's making it so big.
Probably.
Okay. Two, the moral compass that you think exists in most people doesn't.
I would agree on that as well.
And
I think
three,
probably for
mob
a majority
mentality.
it does, but
Right. But mob mentality, that's always a thing on the internet. It's the same thing as if you go back and you look at something as simple as, like, the old Frankenstein movies where the mob's got the torches and the pitchforks and somebody points at the monster and starts screaming, monster, 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 and everybody just starts rushing at it. Mob mentality is the same thing here. So if somebody suddenly says, oh, they're a white supremacist, somebody's like, what, white supremacist? And then everybody just charges.
Right.
So this isn't as big a deal as everybody's making it out to be, but because everybody's making it into a big deal, it's becoming a big deal.
well, it's a slow news week.
Yeah, that's it. Until somebody else says something horrible, this will be the thing.
Yeah. There's also, I mean,
I do.
Good.
Go for it.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say there is something to be said for, even regardless of what someone said or what someone did, there is probably an argument to be made for the separation of the art from the artist. Obviously, there are some situations like the Cosbys and so on that you would not want that artist to profit from the art because it then continues to, let them live in a cushy lifestyle. But there is, well, take for example, any of Kevin Spacey's work, I can still enjoy Kevin Spacey's work without condoning Kevin Spacey. Whether or not you want to then go and say Kevin Spacey's a bad person, sure. Yeah, I think there's no question against that. But again, that all is like, hey, here's a full-grown adult who took advantage of people and kids and so on. Not here's an adolescent, an early adolescent who said
Said something
shit.
stupid.
Didn't even say some stupid shit. Mouthed some stupid shit on a. It looked like a video, I guess.
Yeah,
I don't know.
fucking around like a FaceTime video. Yeah, I have that same problem with Tom Cruise actually, because I love Tom Cruise's work.
Yeah.
I do not like Tom Cruise at all.
No, psychopath.
The man is horrible, but his work is beyond reproach. It really is.
Don't say about
He's
Tom Cruise.
fucking good.
Tom
Say anything.
Cruise is Tom Cruise
Don't
crazy.
say anything bad about Scientology. I don't want no private investigation of them. Please.
Dude, I used to go past the Church of Scientology here in LA, the big one with the big blue letters. It's
Yeah.
right.
Oh,
It's like 20 minutes from where I'm at. And we used to drive by all the time, and I would hang out the window, making sure that I was really well seen with both fingers up. Just film me, bring it.
Look,
Let's go.
I don't know how many people view this, but I will say that Scientology terrifying. Because I hear
it's
that
horrible.
they don't stop following. Like I like, even if this podcast only reaches like a very small number, it's still out there. And next thing you know, like 2 weeks, people at my door, hello, we heard you said some really interesting things about our program. Would you like
I'm
a
going to
pamphlet? And
disabuse
it's
you.
like,
I'm going to disabuse you of that a little bit because I've got a really good friend of mine that works here in LA, and he works part of a major lighting corporation. And one of his biggest contractors is the Church of Scientology. And if there's anything that can be said positively about them, is that they are phenomenal business people.
Yeah.
They know how to run a business. He gets sent checks in the mail for like, $180,000 with nothing else
Whoa.
but the check. And then he'll call them and go, why are you sending me? Oh, that's because we wanted you to do this. We just wanted to send you the money ahead of time. So they'll send him money, and then he'll go and he helped, he helped design the lighting setup on their cruise ship and in a lot of their bigger buildings. Yeah, they have their own cruise ship. And so, I mean, I know this guy, we've talked directly with them. I've seen him do his setups. They don't bother me at all. And I'm right here in LA with them. So that's during their heyday. Yeah. But they're kind of on the way out again. They got, they're on the
Publicity's
downslide.
a bitch.
Yes. They finally got trapped.
Well, guys, it's 11 o'clock. Anyone
Is
who
it?
wants to,
Oh.
it is. Anyone who wants to go zip on over to Chris's
Yeah, we should go see Chris.
panel, you 100% should. I'm gonna link the linky do.
It was just in our chat, right?
Yep, I'm gonna link it over to the Twitch stream so that if you would
Okay,
like to go take a peek, see, we certainly can do that. Let's pop.
I just want to say I didn't want to say anything about wild. Well,
Oh, you broke up, buddy. I can't hear you.
He's going away.
hello?
There you go.
Ah!
There you go.
I didn't want to say anything about culture or the Billie Eilish stuff while John I don't know.
Was there?
Would have felt like bad.
Bad taste.
Agreed.
Yeah, I was thinking it, and I was like, does it matter? And I'm glad that you.
Well, in the end, it really doesn't.
Well, so, I mean, look, the reality is, when you've got a high profile or a very visible from a, social media standpoint, you become a target for a lot of things.
Oh,
So
yeah.
you certainly don't need any extra help on that point of view. All right, in the chat for Twitch, bang, the link is in there. Anyone who is currently watching the Twitch stream should go and enjoy that panel. It is about horror and sound and the sound of horror and so on. I'm personally looking forward to it. But that does mean I have to end this stream. So I'm going to end the stream. You guys have anything else you want to say?
I'm good. It was really good being here again tonight.
People.
What?
I just said be good people.
Be good people. I
Be good
agree.
people. Yeah.
That's a good mantra to be in.
Live, laugh.
Live, laugh, love.
Bye-bye.
See ya, Twitch.
See you, Twitch. Love you guys.